Thank you for calling Late Night Taco Delivery. If you are calling to place an order, unfortunately the store is closed due to the fact that we are about to record a podcast. We'll be closed for another half an hour-ish. If you're calling to listen to the show, congratulations, you are just in time. So kick back, relax, and enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to Late Night Taco Delivery.
Late Night Taco Delivery! Yay!
I am your host, Daniel Gill.
And I'm Jonathan Knoll.
And we're here to talk about nerd stuff.
As always.
How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. I just got home from the Wood County Fair today.
Ah, you have a good time?
Yeah, I was there to support my siblings. They're in the marching band over at the high school.
Cool. Yeah, I like the fair. It's always fun. It never changes. It's always the same, which is kind of comforting.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I mean, you always can get the same food. You always see the same stuff. You can always smell the same horses.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but, though when I was...
And you can always get the same damn cheese curds.
Yes, you can. Though when I was a kid, there was actually a portable video arcade that was there.
God damn!
And it was actually really cool because you can go in there and check out all the new games that were coming out that year.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm. I played a couple games I'd never even seen other places. Like there was one that was a running gun called the Iron Horse, where you basically had to run around on top of a moving train in the Wild West and fight bandits.
That sounds awesome.
It was a lot of fun. And there was another one. It was a holographic game, and I can't remember the name of the game, unfortunately, but it involved time travel, and you were a cowboy, and you basically had to fight like robots in the future or barbarians from the past. And it was rather silly, but it was really, really cool to see.
Nice.
All right. Anyway.
Geeking out about anything this week?
I got a couple things I've been geeking out about.
Go for it.
Just read a book on, and I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but it's an anecdotes of animation from all these different studios.
Sweet.
From stuff they don't really cover in history books, and some of them are just downright funny. Like Leon Schlesinger, the owner of the Looney Tunes.
Yes.
Looney Tunes of the Warner, when before it got bought out by Warner Brothers, used the proceeds of his very, very popular cartoons to buy himself a really nice boat. And one day, one of the animators went, "Well, Leon, when are you going to take us out on your boat?" And he went, "I don't want to be seen with any poor people."
Damn.
Yeah. Then they were talking about Woody Woodpecker. At one point, there was a special animation that they did for the 1981 Academy Awards.
Mm-hmm.
It was going to be a lifetime achievement for Woody Woodpecker, and he was going to appear on stage with Robin Williams. And it was actually the Walter Lantz studio that had gone out of business, but they contracted out with Filmation to make this live action piece. The problem is that it worked really well, except that Robin does not stay on script.
Oh.
And you cannot go off script when you're doing animation.
No.
So that kind of botched that, and apparently it's never been rebroadcast since then.
Ouch.
I'm also reading a science fiction novel called Waking Walt by a guy named Larry Pontius. And it's your standard potboiler. It's based on the old urban legend that Walt Disney was cryogenically frozen in 1966.
I actually, when I was writing a series called Mystery Science Theater 3001, I know, real original.
Woohoo.
In Deep 15, the library of Gizmonics Institute,
Mm-hmm.
they actually dug up the cryogenic remains of Walt Disney.
Nice.
And put it there. So,
yep.
I'm very aware of this urban myth.
Right, but basically the idea was that a group of people he entrusted were finally able to get a cancer drug that was working and pull them out. And it's a standard potboiler. It's got, evil industrialists who want to buy out the Disney Corporation and split it up, and people running around. There's an alligator attack and gunfights and so on and so forth. But the thing is, it's kind of interesting, is Larry Pontius actually was a vice president at Walt Disney Studios in the 1970s.
Huh.
So he never actually met Disney himself, but he knew a lot of people who knew him firsthand. So he was able to incorporate that into the character of Walt Disney in the book.
Nice.
And he doesn't come off as a complete jackass, but he's a human being. He's got his own
Right.
problems. Thought that was kind of cool.
After many years of having a very, very stupid phone, like bone stupid, it's thick and you can throw it around stupid. I finally moved up into the 21st century and I now have a smartphone.
Yay! I actually did the same thing. I upgraded my smartphone, which I said was so special it needed to wear a helmet. I upgraded to a much finer piece of equipment, and it is quite nice. It's a big screen. It's a Samsung Galaxy Prevail LTE.
Nice.
And it does everything I want it to do, and it's just like, ooh, party. And it was actually surprisingly easy to change over to my account. So, yay.
Woo. But yeah, that's pretty much all I'm doing.
Okay. Well, I also just watched a documentary on Netflix called Ghost Army, which was absolutely fascinating. It was about a group of military soldiers or people in the army in World War II whose job was it to basically conduct psychological warfare on the Germans. They used practical effects, sonic technology, and radio to essentially fool the Germans into thinking that there were larger groups in other places, or that larger groups were not there, or whatever. And it was just really neat.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and like the famous women's fashion designer Bill Blaskott came out of this, which I thought was kind of cool.
Cool.
And at one point, the artists were sitting around at a brothel in Luxembourg, and some of the army engineers thought they were gay because they did nothing but want to sit around and sketch the beautiful women. But yeah, that's about it.
Cool. I also watched a really good movie. I'm surprised at how much of a fan I've become of Wes Anderson lately.
Okay.
I recently saw Grand Budapest Hotel.
Ah.
And that was fantastic.
Wes Anderson does some good stuff.
Grand Budapest Hotel tells the story of a hotel maitre d' who gets in trouble with the law, and it's just a delightful film.
Okay.
I recommend it highly.
Very cool, very cool. I got yelled at by Tim, our podcast brother, the other day because he found out I'm not a big fan of Martin Scorsese movies.
Really?
I've never really got into it. I don't like the kind of darkness that Scorsese brings to his films.
Fair enough.
I mean, I've watched Goodfellas and I've seen a couple of his films, but I've never seen Taxi Driver. I've never seen Raging Bull.
The only one I've seen is Mean Streets.
Yeah, I've never seen Wolf of Wall Street or some of the other ones he's done with Leonardo DiCaprio, because I'm just not a huge fan of his work. I'm much more of a Spielbergian guy. I like Spielberg's kind of almost whimsy and happiness.
That's fair.
Yeah. Anyway, shall we get to the geek news?
Yes, let's.
All right. Gotta get to the geek news here.
Fair enough. If that's the case, then I'll just start real quick.
Okay.
We have a new Bourne movie coming out.
Yay?
I guess. It looks like Tommy Lee Jones and Matt Damon are going to be in this one.
Matt Damon!
You're Matt Damon.
Matt Damon!
Let's see. We also have Alicia Vikander and Julia Stiles, who are also on board. Paul Greengrass is back to direct and is penning the script with Christopher Rouse.
Very cool, very cool. I got some little heartwarming news here.
Fair enough. Let's go.
Ghostbusters cast visits Boston hospital patients in full costume.
Oh, that's delightful.
Now, Paul Feig's Ghostbusters is still busy filming in Boston, but that didn't stop cast members Kristen Wiig, Melissa McCarthy, Leslie Jones, and Kate McKinnon from suiting up to visit local patients at the Tough Medical Center. They showed off new looks of their costumes, proton packs and all, while making the rounds at the floating hospital for children, stopping to take plenty of pictures along the way. And it's this sweet. I mean, the movie's not even out yet, but, it's good to get above your own ego sometimes. And just
I like that.
Go have a good time.
Oh, yeah. We have a new release schedule for the Marvel Netflix series. Marvel's Jessica Jones will be coming in 2015. Then
Okay.
we will also have another Daredevil one right after that in 2016.
Cool.
And soon we will have the Defenders.
Defenders! Let's see here. In the not-so-happy news,
Uh-oh.
Five Nights at Freddy's. Gil Kenan to direct film adaptation.
Why do we need this movie?
I don't know. Apparently, this is what he made after... This is Gil Kenan. He was in charge of the Poltergeist remake.
Oh.
So,
You mean that movie that I didn't see?
Yeah, same here. And apparently not a lot of other people saw it either.
Ouch.
Yeah. So, this is rather amusing. I've never played the game, but based on the images I've seen and the information I've read, it seems as though the adaptation has serious potential. Oh, wait, that's the author of the article talking about it. Because it would be even funnier if Gil Kenan hadn't actually ever played the game.
That would be funny.
Yep. And he also, it's being helmed by Gil Kenan. He's also penning the script with Tyler Burton Smith, who I have no idea who that is. Something.
Also in the kind of news, although for some this is a huge sigh of relief, Channing Tatum is no longer in the X-Men spin-off for Gambit.
Are you sure?
That was the last I heard from it.
Because that's part of my news this week.
Really?
Yes. The alternate is, and this was posted yesterday, Channing Tatum closes his Gambit deal. Despite reports he was dropping out, Channing Tatum is officially in to star as fan-favorite Gambit in a movie of the same name, a spin-off of the X-Men franchise.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember when that came out last week, that he was reportedly out. I'm like, yay! And he went, no! Pooh.
Oh, darn.
Oh, bother. Yeah, I have nothing against the guy, but he doesn't look like Gambit to me.
No.
Johnny Depp looks like Gambit to me. Someone very thin and very wiry. Channing Tatum always just looked like a frat boy who got lucky.
Pretty much.
Oh well, what do I know, right?
Right.
It'll make tons of money.
Alright, your turn, man?
Alright. Speaking of Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
is a live-action Star Wars series coming to Netflix.
Uh-oh.
The gist of the rumor from Cinelinx. Disney and Netflix are so stunned by the success of Daredevil that vague plans for a live-action Star Wars series are filming up quickly. The plan is to reuse sets from the movies and tell stories that wouldn't work on the big screen. As rumors go, it's credible. Disney and Netflix have a close association. Using sets as a cost-saving measure is a common Hollywood tactic, and we've been hearing of a live-action Star Wars series for more than a decade now. So, possible. I would love to see that. I'd love to see, side stories.
Yeah. Honestly, what I would like to see is, when we go from Revenge of the Sith to A New Hope, the Jedi kind of become a myth.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of want to see a series about that.
Yeah.
So
I can see that.
that would be my my poll for that kind of thing.
Okay. Cool.
Speaking of live-action adaptations,
All right.
Chris Pine has now closed the deal to star with Gal Gadot in Wonder Woman.
That is correct. That was one of my pieces too. So
He will be playing Steve Trevor.
that's cool. I got no problems with that.
Yeah, I think he looks the part, and I'm in full support of this one.
Yeah, I'm still hoping that the movie's actually good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
So, looking forward to that.
Yay. All right, let's see here. Oh, speaking of Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm.
Hide your ghost kids, hide your ghost wife. We're getting more Ghostbusters. We've heard rumors there would be a male counterpart to Paul Feig's Ghostbusters reboot since a nerdy email from Channing Tatum surfaced this past December declaring he would like to team up with Chris Pratt for an epic ectoplasmic adventure. But apparently, now it has been confirmed by the Russo brothers they are doing another Ghostbusters movie. And it's basically what they're doing is they're setting up a multi-universe for the Ghostbusters. They're going Marvel Universe on the Ghostbusters.
Huh.
So
I'm strangely in support of this.
Mm-hmm. So
Does this mean that we get a Harold Ramis ghost, though? Please?
I don't know if it'd be good in taste or not, but, I'd go for it.
Well, the thing is that Slimer was kind of a nod to John Belushi.
True, true.
So I feel like it would be the next logical step to make a Harold Ramis ghost.
Okay. Well, we'll see how we do it.
All right. This is one that just makes me happy all over.
Okay.
Pluto's big moon may host the first Star Wars, and Star Trek names in space.
Yay!
Basically, when we got all these really nice high-definition pictures of Pluto's moon, the guys at NASA have just been going crazy with naming the different locations.
Okay.
And they are all totally geeky. We have Organa Crater, Vader Crater, Ripley Crater, Skywalker Crater, TARDIS Chasma, Alice Crater, Serenity Chasma, Kubrick Mons, Sulu Crater, Kirk Crater, Gallifrey Macula. Let's see. Some other ones. Give me the image. I want the image.
Give it to me.
Open.
Well, while you're trying to do that, this actually reminds me of something from the mid-'90s, when one of the Mars probes actually landed on Mars successfully. I don't remember which one it was. I don't believe it was a Sojourner Truth. But anyway, they were right. They had the little rover going around and looking at rocks and such, and the NASA engineers were naming them after cartoon characters. It's like, there's the Yogi. There's a Yogi rock, and there's a Scooby-Doo rock, and there's a Huckleberry Hound rock. And then they started intercutting, and the Cartoon Network started intercutting it with Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Nice.
And it's like, there's a Yogi rock. Space Ghost would be a great name for a rock. And here we have the Huckleberry Hound. You know, Space Ghost is a great name for a rock. And apparently, finally, they ended up actually naming a rock after Space Ghost.
Cthulhu Regio is another location on Pluto's moon.
Oh, good lord.
So, yeah. That one just makes me happy.
It's pretty happy.
Mordor Macula.
Let's see here. I'll bring you down with the next one.
Uh-oh.
Well, considering we talked about this guy a couple times on the show, and actually in our Geek News, Fault in Our Stars author John Green launches furious attack on Tumblr users for accusing him of sexual abuse and being a pedophile. A Tumblr user slammed John Green in his books in a post, and accused John Green of using his works to amass some weird cult-like following of young girls and called him a creep. Green bluntly said in a response post, "I do not sexually abuse children." Before elaborating on the accusations, he called the original post sick and libelous, adding that it most importantly damages the discourse between the actual sexual abuse of children. And you know what? I agree with the guy. There are people can say anything they want on the internet, and I don't really think they understand what they're saying and who they're saying it to.
Yeah.
They just want to sound cool or shit. But he's not. John Green is a very good writer, very funny guy. And he does, he gets people to think about, his stories.
Yeah.
So, good on him. Fuck Tumblr and its stupid ass.
Tumblr.
Yeah.
Tumblr, am I right?
Just Tumblr. You don't have to say anything else. Just fucking Tumblr. But yeah. So, go John Green.
They're making a Nosferatu remake.
God damn it, we're getting the same news this week.
Yeah.
Over and over.
Yeah.
Continue on. Just continue on.
It's in the works with director of The Witch, Robert Eggers. It's not looking like it's going to be the same kind of a... Uh-oh.
What?
Hang on.
Uh-oh.
It's not looking like it's going to be the same, frame-by-frame remake like Gus Van Sant Psycho and everything like that.
Right.
But it's a remake.
It's a remake. And I remember seeing the one with Klaus Kinski from the late 70s, and that was pretty good. It was a much darker take, and a lot more sexuality and violence. And then there was the gorgeous, amazing Shadow of the Vampire, sorry.
With one of Eddie Izzard's earliest roles, too.
One of Eddie Izzard's earliest roles, and Carrie Elways, and a very, very good William Dafoe. Have you seen the movie, by the way?
No, afraid not.
You need to see this film. You would, if you've seen the original Nosferatu, you would truly appreciate it. Basically, the guy has never made another big budget film, and it was produced by Nicolas Cage.
Dear Christ!
But the thing is, it's a good thing. It's like Nicolas Cage is insane anyway, and he lets us produce, and he does the same thing. He produces things the same way. But then again, Mel Brooks also produced The Elephant Man with John Hurt. So
this is true.
So just because he's a producer doesn't mean it's weird. But it was very well done, and John Malkovich was in it. Malkovich.
In one of the more what the fuck moments this week,
Okay.
Callan Mulvey is reportedly cast as KG Beast in Batman v Superman.
Oh, jeez. Are they going to have any time to actually tell the story, or are they just going to keep throwing characters in there?
I know, right? But seriously, though, just what the fuck?
Yeah.
KG Beast?
I don't know. I kind of like the KG Beast. I mean, he's definitely a relic of the 1980s. Cold War. But, it was an interesting fight. It was an interesting battle between him and Batman. And Batman basically said, yeah, I'm not going to kill you. But I don't have to keep fighting him. And he ended up locking him into a room and walking away.
Shh.
And KG Beast ended up having to cut his own arm off to escape.
Ugh.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Just kind of a... Ugh.
I didn't put this in as my one of the pieces of the news because it's only a theory right now.
Mm-hmm.
But someone posted a very interesting idea that Zack Snyder's endgame to all these DC movies is Mark Waid's Kingdom Come.
That'd be interesting.
The really, really interesting ending of, not really the ending, but it was like a beautifully painted series about the DC universe 20 years in the future after Superman has abandoned humanity. And a new rise of more violent superheroes and supervillains have come out. And if you guys ever get a chance to read it, you really should, because it's very well done. Basically, it pits Superman and Batman's old ideals versus the younger generation and also the evil generation. Because there's like a whole consortium that's led by Lex Luthor and Catwoman and not Ra's al Ghul, Vandal Savage.
I think Darkseid and Desaad are brought in at some point.
No, they're not actually.
No, that's a different one.
Yeah, Apocalypse never shows up.
Okay.
But it was a really, really interesting read. Very dark, but at the same time very hopeful.
That pause that I had earlier,
yeah.
That was just my friend Dustin telling me that he got home.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's your turn.
Dungeons & Dragons movie moves forward at Warner Brothers.
Say what?
For the last 10 months, Hasbro and Sweet Pea Entertainment have battled it out in court for the rights to produce a new Dungeons & Dragons movie. Today, the two sides announced that the case has been settled and Warner Brothers' long-simmering Dungeons & Dragons film adaptation is one step closer to fruition. I've
Good on 'em.
seen the one that was written in 2000 with Justin Whalen and Jeremy Irons. And these films were produced by Sweet Pea Entertainment, which is why the company attempted to assert its rights to create any additional movies in the franchise. And no, they shouldn't be allowed to do it because the movies sucked. They sucked balls. They sucked hard, sweaty bull balls. They were awful. They were some of the worst fucking movies I've ever seen in my life. You couldn't even MST3K these fucking movies. They were so bad. Sorry.
Oh, man.
Hi.
Hi.
I needed to have a vent there for a moment.
Needed to get that out of your system, then.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it wasn't as bad. It wasn't Island of Dr. Moreau bad, but it was still pretty bad.
Well, from bad to, I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
There is now a trailer for a trailer.
A trailer for a trailer? Is this Deadpool?
Yes, this is Deadpool.
Oh, God. I was just joking.
No, it's real.
The only one I could think of was it would have to be Deadpool because he's so weird anyway.
Oh, it was fantastic, though. I watched it this morning.
I have not had a chance to see that yet.
It's... Imagine Masterpiece Theater with Deadpool trying to smoke a pipe. It's very funny and very well done.
I will have to check that out when I get a chance.
Highly recommend it.
Okay. Let's see here. Star Wars gets an entire sneaker line courtesy of Adidas.
Okay.
The sneaker company has just debuted a limited edition series of Star Wars sneakers ranging from gold sneakers in tribute to Z3POs to one with Vader's face on the heel cage. Available in both their Superstar 80s line and their ZX Flux series, they're all fully customizable with patterns, lace, jewels, you name it. So, yeah, apparently they want you to buy shoes.
Shoes.
Oh my god, shoes. What was the other thing I was thinking about? I can't remember. Never mind. Oh, Chuck Taylor's got an update. I don't know if you wear Chuck Taylor's or know anyone that wears Chuck Taylor All-Stars.
Yes, I heard about this.
Yeah, first time in like 86 years they've had it been updated. They've actually had...
98.
98? Yeah, they have new insoles that are actually comfortable.
Yes.
So for people who have poor arches and bad heels like yours truly, I might actually be able to wear them now.
Congratulations.
Yay! Like I can afford them.
I know, right? They're ridiculously expensive.
They're ridiculously expensive, and they're just fucking canvas and rubber. They're the cheapest shoes in the goddamn world.
Mm-hmm.
These are the shoes that if you made them, you could probably make them for like 10 cents and give them out to third world countries for free.
Pretty much.
But, power of marketing. Woohoo.
This one made me sad.
Uh-oh.
So, on Smodcast a while back, there was an episode they did about Hitchbot, which is a hitchhiking robot.
This was my shit that should not be.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I was like, God damn you, Philadelphia!
I know, right? And I was just in Philadelphia.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and finish talking for those who aren't aware of this.
So, Hitchbot made its way across Canada completely safely. It made its way across the Netherlands and Germany. And then it started in Boston, here in the U.S., and met its demise in Philadelphia.
2 weeks into its trip.
Exactly. What the fuck, America?
I know, seriously. And they even got caught video of the guy beating the hell out of it.
Fuck you, America.
Yeah, I mean, this is the equivalent of looking Wall-E dead in his sweet innocent eyes and dismantling him piece by piece while his Hello Dolly tapes play. There's just no reason for it.
Yeah, that's not cool, man.
Most ironic part about this whole ordeal is that Hitchbot's creators sent him out in the world to test the kindness of strangers. I guess they got their answers, though I doubt it was the one they wanted. However, they're going to rebuild him and try again.
I hope so.
And this time, I don't know, man. It kind of ruins the idea of having an armed guard with him.
Yeah.
But it'd be kind of cool just like giving to a family going on a 2-week vacation.
That'd be interesting.
Just travel around. Go to Disney World. Go to New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the Grand Canyon. Have a good time.
I agree.
Just, Hitchbot, we salute you. There are some assholes in the world, but there are a lot other nicer people in the world. So really, you can try it. Keep going, Hitchbot. We salute you.
Go for it, man.
Yeah.
It's your turn.
Soylent Green is made of people. No, wait.
I could have told you that.
Sorry. Ready-to-drink meal could be put food on chopping block. A company called Soylent has started selling what it calls complete meals ready to drink in a bottle. When Willy Wonka created a 3-course meal, basically, okay, let me just tell you what Soylent is. There was a computer engineer out in California who just got tired of taking so much time eating, because it kept him away from doing stuff like programming, that he basically started designing a liquid diet for himself, and created something called Soylent. And for a while there, you could, basically all the recipes were posted online. You could do whatever you needed to do online. And then, now apparently it's available for sale.
Huh.
So the idea is that you could pretty much live the rest of your life on this stuff. And does not substitute for regular food, but it also can provide for, like, if you want to do a quick weight loss, or if you don't have time for lunch, grab a bottle of Soylent, stuff it down, you're all set to go.
Cool. I feel a bit like I'm nauseous, but cool.
The meal in the glass comes in handy on movie sets and during late-night editing sessions.
I might have to look into this now.
Yeah. So it's something that currently costs about $9 a day, but a venture capital company has invested $20 million and thinks that the product can get even less costly. So basically, it'd be like an instant breakfast all day long.
Neat.
Yeah.
I have a video game news and then 2 shits that should not be.
I have one what the fuck. That's all I have left.
Okay. Street Fighter V has added claw-wielding sex symbol Vega back into the lineup.
Yay!
So, there's my video game news.
That's actually pretty cool. Vega was always a fun character.
And now for the shit that should not be.
Okay.
First trailer for Michael Bay's Benghazi thriller debuts.
13 Hours, or what it's called?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I saw that. Michael Bay's good at exploding things.
That's about it. I don't think he's a talented enough director to make a movie like this.
Yeah, I mean, this is a political hot button.
Yeah.
Republicans are still screaming about this.
Yeah.
They still want, Clinton's head on a pike staff because of it.
Yeah.
And now we're turning into an action movie. Yay!
Courtesy of Michael Bay.
Michael fucking Bay.
Oh my fucking god. Disbar this man. I mean, I know that that's a lawyer term, but fucking Hollywood disbar this man.
His movies make money. They make a lot of money. They make ridiculously large amounts of money.
I hope this ruins him.
Well, Pain and Gain didn't ruin him. That was Mark Wahlberg and The Rock.
Alright. You're what the fuck?
Well, what the fuck? Well, let me just basically tell you a little bit about background of this. Last October, former Google diversity chief Mark Palmer Edgecombe won approval from London's Tower Hamlets Council to turn a disused Victorian-era shop and apartment building into the Museum of Women's History. The proposal promised to retell the story of the East End through the eyes, voices, and experiences and actions of prominent British suffragists. But this week, when the Cable Street facade was revealed, East End residents were shocked to see signage for the Jack the Ripper Museum.
What?
We did plan to do a museum about social history of women, but as the project developed, we decided a more interesting angle was from the perspective of the victims of Jack the Ripper.
The fuck?
Yeah, that was pretty much my reaction. So we go from, a museum dedicated to the history of women suffragists to a monster who's down on whores. Great idea there. Great fucking idea.
God damn. What?
That's just called a hoodwink.
You can definitely call it that, yes.
Yeah, I don't even know what to call that one. Alright, so anyway. Yeah, that was my what the fuck.
Okay. Here's my shit that should not be.
Okay.
Pez, the animated candy, will spin out Pez, the animated movie.
What?
Just when you thought it was safe to come out from your drinking stupor, Envision Media Arts has entered an exclusive agreement with Pez Candy to develop an animated feature based on the spring-loaded lozenge dispensers with flip-up heads. Cameron Fay, who's responsible for things like the Three Stooges movie and Brother-in-Law, has provided a script. Lee Nelson and David Below will produce the movie, and Greg Rawson, Brian Sawyer, and Jonathan Hung brought the project to EMA and will executive produce, along with EMA's David Tisch.
That's it. I'm going back to the 80s. I'm building a time machine and pulling my ass back to the 80s, where the worst thing I had to worry about was what movie I was going to go see, or what time my homework was due. This is definitely shit that should not be. This is the what the fuck shit that should not be. Who thought of this? Who thought this was a good idea? Who greenlit this? Are their parents proud of them? Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh
exactly.
My God.
Just when you think it was safe to come out of your drunken stupor.
I'm about ready to go back into a drunken stupor.
Me too. I'll follow right behind you. Bring the vodka, because goddamn.
All right. I got nothing
wow.
else. I'm just staring at my computer, wondering why I'm, staying on this planet right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is, it's gonna make money.
Probably. Either that, or we'll get stuck in development hell for freaking ever.
Please let that happen. Please let that happen.
I hope
forever
so.
and ever and ever. Wow. Are you sure this was not this wasn't an Onion article?
Not last time I checked, no. This one is Deadline.com.
Oh my freaking God.
Yeah.
Just freaking God. Oh, well, there is a new epic rap battle of history this week.
Yeah, I saw that. I need to watch it later.
Yeah, I linked you to it. It's Stan Lee versus Jim Henson, with special guest appearance by Walt Disney.
Nice.
It is amusing. It's actually well-written. It's kind of heartwarming, believe it or not.
But yeah, Pez, the movie. Want to talk about better movies?
Yes. Let's talk about better movies, shall we?
Okay, well, tonight's episode is about animation.
Yes, but not just any kind of animation.
Exactly. This is animation for adults.
Please adjust your yeah, fuck. I'm really bad tonight. I don't know what the deal is.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Please, viewer discretion is advised. Yes. No, basically back in the late 70s and early 80s, there was this magical time of Hollywood when they actually started to see animation as something more than just for children. Mm-hmm. They started to step up and let other, animations be used for other things. This was the time of Ralph Bakshi, and mostly Ralph Bakshi. Because he was coming out of, doing Fritz the Cat and Coonskin and American Pop and Wizards.
Yes.
And then, basically, the problem is they didn't make any money.
Mm-hmm.
He
also made a video game as well.
He did?
Yes. Bruce Timm worked on it.
What was it?
It might have just been a Wizards video game.
Huh.
I could be wrong.
Never heard of that. I mean, Don Bluth was also in this time period, and he was making some gorgeous stuff. Don Bluth basically came out of the Disney studios. He essentially broke from the company, taking a whole bunch of the younger animators with him because he figured that he felt that Disney was in a very much a rut.
Mm-hmm.
And through financing taken from United Artists, he was able to make Secret of Nim, which is to this day one of the most terrifying movies ever made.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous.
It's fantastic. It's gorgeous. One of the most beautiful films and very scary. But sticking with Ralph Bakshi a little bit. He made the what I consider the animation abortion, Lord of the Rings.
That's Rankin and Bass.
No, my friend. No, it's not. Let me tell you a story.
Oh dear.
Well, Rankin and Bass produced The Hobbit for television, and it actually was quite successful. And then Ralph Bakshi shot Lord of the Rings.
Oh, I'm wrong. It's Don Bluth who did the video game, not Bakshi.
Oh, okay, thank you. Because Don Bluth, I knew Don Bluth did like Space Ace and Dragon's Lair.
Yes.
Which were two really awesome video games from the early 80s. They were Laserdisc games.
Mm-hmm.
They were very hard to play. You had to figure something. I never actually did figure it out until I was older. Like, oh, you do this instead of, playing like an actual game. You have to, figure out what the patterns are.
Right. Anyway, you were saying about the other one?
Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Somehow Bakshi got the rights to make an animated Lord of the Rings. And he rotoscoped the entire damn movie.
Yes.
And it is ugly. Holy shit, is it ugly. And it badly acted. And badly written. I watched it as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
A very young kid. And I don't remember much about it. I had a Lord of the Rings coloring book. I remember that much. But in the early 2000s, when I was living with my roommate Jason and his boyfriend came over and he'd gotten a copy of Lord of the Rings on DVD, we tried to watch it. We made it 15 minutes.
They recently released that version of Lord of the Rings onto a new DVD.
Why? Just why?
Nostalgia.
Oh, it was so horrible. It was just one of the worst movies I ever saw in my life.
Plus, they're cashing in on the success of The Hobbit.
True. But anyway, what ended up happening is that Lord of the Rings ended right around the time, right around when the second book ends. Mm-hmm. So Rankin Bass saw a potential, and they swooped in and made Return of the King.
Yes.
As another television movie. And it wasn't that good. It was nowhere near as good as The Hobbit.
Fair enough.
Yep. But, no, we had movies there, like I said, there was Wizards, which was Ralph Bakshi's take on fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was basically set in this futuristic apocalyptic world where magic exists, but the forces of evil are able to pull out Nazi imagery and Nazi weapons to try to take over the world again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very silly. I mean, it's late 70s. Probably should be watched while smoking weed kind of film.
Mm.
But it had some really good imagery, and it was done by the conceptual art was done by the great Mike Ploog, who's responsible for creating characters like Ghost Rider.
Yes.
But my main problem with Ralph Bakshi is he's not a very good storyteller. He never has been. He's sort of like John Kay with Ren and Stimpy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so much he's a great artist, it's because he's willing to push the envelope so far that people think he's a genius. I mean,
Sounds about right.
I mean, American Pop was another one that he did with Ralph Bakshi that was rotoscoped. It basically covers from like about 1900, the birth of jazz, all up to late 70s, early 80s with rock and roll. Mm-hmm. This is one family and how they're involved. And there's drugs, and there's war, and there's sex, and everything else. But it's not a great movie. It's just different.
That one actually arrived at the library for me today. I was going to watch it, but I wasn't able to.
No, you didn't have time. But it's different. Like I say, Bakshi has always been a different animator. But now we're going to talk about the movies you actually watched for this episode.
Yes, I ended up finding a copy of Rock and Rule on YouTube.
Yes, Rock and Rule is one of my favorite movies.
I can understand why you like it.
Now, I will admit there is a lot of rose-colored nostalgia behind the movie.
Yes.
When I first saw it, I was about 5th grade. And when you're about 5th grade, you're thinking, I'm more of an adult now. I should see more adult things. And Rock and Roll was the perfect tonic for that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, it had boobs, it had giant monsters, it had a kickin' soundtrack.
Oh, yeah, the soundtrack really got me in the mood to listen to Rush. A lot of Rush.
Yeah. Now, for those who don't know, the music was done by Cheap Trick, Debbie Harry, Earth, Wind & Fire, Lou Reed, Iggy Pop. A couple other ones were involved in that.
And a lot of those same acts were also involved with the other movie I watched for this episode,
Yeah.
Heavy Metal.
Heavy Metal. Great soundtrack, that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Heavy Metal is more of a vignette movie, as I call them.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
There's a series
bunch of stories. Yeah, it's a bunch of stories that are squished together with a framing device.
Framing device being the Naklar.
Yes.
Which is a orb of pure evil.
Orb of pure evil.
Yeah. Now, Rock and Roll originally came out of a company out of Canada called Nelvana.
Yes.
And they originally had made a cartoon back in the late 70s called The Devil and Daniel Mouse, which is another rock and roll fantasy. And because of the strength of this story, they were able to get the financing to make Rock and Roll through United Artists.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that while this movie was being made, was the same time Michael Cimino was making Heaven's Gate. You remember that movie at all?
Heaven's Gate? No.
Heaven's Gate is one of the longest, most boring fucking movies that cost more than the gross national product of Argentina.
Oh.
Basically, Michael Cimino was given a blank check by United Artists to make him a Western. If it had actually not ever been cut down, the movie would have been 7 hours long. Filming was so long, John Hurt was able to film the Elephant Man between his scenes in Heaven's Gate.
Jeez.
And it just kept getting longer and longer and longer and longer and costing more and more money, and it basically bankrupted the studio.
Oh god, this looks awful.
Yeah, until finally the company was able to wrest control away from Michael Cimino, and they released it, and it tanked horribly.
Understandably.
I mean, since then it's gained an appreciation with auteurs of cinema, but because of this, it really put a bind on Rock and Roll.
Mm-hmm.
And the film was never given the wide release I think it really deserved. Plus, there was also problems with the production itself. I actually ended up talking with a couple people who worked on the film.
Really?
Yes.
When did this happen?
Back in the mid-2000s.
Nice.
I was hanging out at a party with some friends of mine in Florida, and one of them turned out to be one of the key animators on, what's his name? The big-nosed dog guy. God damn it.
Oh, Mock.
No, Angel and...
Oh,
Omar.
Yeah, Omar.
There was actually supposed to be a rape scene in the film.
Really?
Yes, Mock was going to rape Angel.
Jesus.
And there was a female animator who was working on Angel. She was one of the key animators, and when she actually read to that part, because they kind of thrust into the end going, we need more sex. And she went, no, you don't. And if you try to force me to animate this, I quit. And she did.
Wow.
So the audio still kind of exists in the film, but that's why it's all black.
Dear God.
Yeah. So that really kind of ruined there. And the movie, like I said, never really got a big audience, and it was only released pretty much on the midnight movies cinema.
Yeah.
Midnight movie circuit. That was the word I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And the soundtrack never got an official release, which really sucks because it was so good.
Yeah, I've seen a few places on YouTube where you can find it, though.
Oh, yeah, so have I. Trust me, I found everything I can.
Funny enough, Nelvana actually ended up shaping a lot of my childhood, too.
Is that because they did droids and Ewoks? No, wait, that was the 80s.
Yeah, that was the 80s.
What were they involved in when you were a kid?
When I was a kid, they were involved with an adaptation of Little Bear.
Ah.
And they also did a series called Franklin.
Franklin, okay. All right, that's
which
cool.
is about a turtle.
Yeah, all right. Well, basically, they were able to bounce back because of the droids and Ewoks. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, the company would have gone bankrupt. Originally, they were the ones that started. They were actually the ones that animated the infamous sequence in the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Yes,
with Boba Fett. Yes, and that's the reason why they got the part with the Ewoks is because George Lucas basically said, "Yeah, they were the only watchable thing about the entire movie."
It's true. Although that cantina scene is still pretty touching.
It's still pretty touching, but if you actually watch the animation, it's like, yeah, it's sort of like trying to choose the best Mexican wine. They all suck, but this kind of sucks less.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, watching this one with all of the hype that you had given me already, just kind of made it
down,
lame.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, just a bit. I mean, the thing is that whenever I go into these kind of movies, I kind of expect a plot.
Ah.
And there is a plot to this one. It's just kind of lame.
Yeah. What, because the rock star decides that since his songs aren't selling as well, he wants to destroy the world? That's a great thing for a 5th grader to watch. This is awesome, man. It's got rock and roll versus the demonic powers. Whoa!
Oh, yeah. And a dog-looking David Bowie thing.
My name is Mark, and thanks a lot. No, I thought it was a great movie. I really enjoyed it. He's like a cross between David Bowie and Mick Jagger. You know?
Yes, that was exactly where I was going with that.
Mm-hmm. Plus, it was one of the first times that computer animation was used in a film.
Yes, I remember that in our very first episode.
Yeah, we talked about that a bit. I have not talked much about heavy metal though. So why don't we talk about heavy metal? What was your reaction? How did you feel? Because I discovered the film when I was a teenager. Probably 15 or 16. I ended up taking a copy off of the movie channel when it aired. And, yeah, animated boobs. That's all I gotta say.
Yes.
Cartoon boobage. So much cartoon boobage.
Whenever I do an episode like this, I always have to run it by my family and see if I can explain it. Basically try to explain it so that they're not going to ask too many questions. And my reaction to this one was, I am watching a movie where clothes are completely optional. And I actually got to see some of the deleted scenes from this movie, too. It was really cool.
Oh, really?
I've
never seen any deleted scenes from that.
Yeah, I picked this one up from the library.
Okay.
So... it was really, it's really well animated. I mean, the animation is just gorgeous to watch.
Let me check that. Who actually directed that? Who did the animation on that? Because I think it was actually a Canadian. It might have been Nelvana.
The director of this one was Ivan Reitman.
Yes, he of Ghostbusters fame.
Yes, and Harold Ramis, also of Ghostbusters fame, was also in this movie.
Okay. And unlike a lot of the other movies that we've reviewed here, it actually was a financial success. It was a $9.3 million budget, and it made over $20 million. And it did run a lot on the midnight movie circuit.
When I was explaining this movie to my friend Dustin, it was, so it's a movie with boobs!
That pretty much covers it, yeah.
Yeah. I liked the way that the framing device worked, but the ending was a little less logical than I would have liked.
Yeah, I mean, it was very much a strange film.
Yeah.
You know, suddenly the, what was it, Tarna, the race of barbarian maidens, suddenly is reincarnated in a little girl who's been terrorized by the Lochnar since the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
Now, the funny thing is actually Blue Oyster Cult has a song in here. Veteran of the Psychic Wars, partially written by Michael Moorcock, the creator of Elric of Elmabone.
Mhm.
But they had actually written another song, which unfortunately I can't remember the name off the top of my head. But they'd been contracted to write the song for the movie, but it retold the story of Tarna and her battle against the Lochnar.
Mm-hmm.
And they decided not to use it because it actually revealed so many of the spoilers of the film. The song was eventually released on Fire of Unknown Origin by Blue Oyster Cult in the mid-'80s, I believe. But still, it was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, there was music, the voices by John Candy.
Yes.
Joe Flatterly, Eugene Levy. And I actually got to use a section of the movie in my health class with Mr. Cupp in high school.
No kidding.
No kidding. Which one was it? So Beautiful and So Dangerous. Basically, the alien ship with the pilot starts snorting cocaine.
Yes.
I actually got to show that scene in class for a project about drug use in movies.
Nosedive!
And I had to stand in front of the television while the nudie bits were on. Because I had to just stand in front and keep looking over my shoulder as I'm fast forwarding over them. Because otherwise, I would have gotten in even more trouble than I probably was already getting into. But Mr. Cupp was really cool about it.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
I remember I used that, and I used North by Northwest, a scene where Cary Grant gets forced to drink and drive.
Mm-hmm.
And I used a section of The Breakfast Club where they were smoking dope.
Nice.
Well, considering that's one of his favorite movies of all time, he had no issues with that.
Yeah. But yeah, this movie has a star-studded cast, a great soundtrack, boobs, and more boobs, and a cock.
A cock?
Yeah.
Where? Is that Den?
Yeah, that's in Den.
Okay. Well, the funny thing is, in the original, these are all originally based on short stories.
A magazine.
The short stories from the magazine Heavy Metal, which is originally from France. And
yes.
Den actually is created by the great Corman. Crap, I can't remember the guy's name. Shit. Never mind.
I actually have this thing.
Richard Corbin. Richard Corbin, yes.
Yes.
And Den originally in the comics did never wore pants or a loincloth. His dong was always hanging out.
Yep.
But no, it was fun.
Loud and proud, even.
Yep. But slowly back, and then basically in the 80s, except for Heavy Metal, everything else that came out was kind of tanked.
Yeah. There's also a sequel. Sorry, what?
Okay, there's a sequel. Yeah, Heavy Metal 2000.
Yes, and I'm just about to go and find it on the library, because I think we might want to do a follow-up episode on this one.
Okay, actually I've seen that one, and it's not that good.
That's what I've heard.
It's one story, and it stars the complete Amazon Julie Strain, who the only reason why she got the part is she's married to Kevin Eastman, who owns Heavy Metal.
Ouch.
Kevin Eastman's one of the creators of the Teenage Mutant Turtles.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just like, woo, my girlfriend is gonna be in a movie. Billy Idol's in it as well, doing a voice, and he's kind of funny.
Mm.
But yeah, mid-'80s, really animation was going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Now there was another Ralph Bakshi film called Fire and Ice.
Yes. I found it on YouTube. I still have to watch it.
Okay. It's another one of his rotoscoping masterpieces. I say masterpiece with sarcasm. But it's based on the art of Frank Frazetta.
Oh, your sarcasm is just dripping.
Oh God, yes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Frank Frazetta.
Frank Frazetta, the great fantasy artist. And the funny thing is actually Robert Rodriguez is a huge fan of this movie. He must have seen it at one of those, perfect moments in his life, because sort of when I saw Rock and Roll.
Mm-hmm.
Because he actually wants to remake it.
Really?
And the rights have been bought. I don't remember which. I think it's United Artists is throwing money at him to do a big budget live action adaptation of it. And I couldn't tell you what it's about. I mean, it's basically young barbarian, young princess, old dude wearing a panther on his head, fighting against a guy who can literally move a mountain.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's pretty, but it's just being rotoscope. It's very flat.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
I mean, exceedingly flat. That's one of the problem I have with Bakshi is he really cannot do camera angles.
Yeah.
But no, we move in the 80s, and really, then it starts to pick up again. Though actually, now I'm looking at my notes, and we really should say something about Yellow Submarine, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I guess we should.
Yeah, Yellow Submarine. Movie about the Beatles. Moving on. No.
Yes. I love Yellow Submarine.
Yellow Submarine is a fun film.
It's just delightfully fun. And then there's the other movie that studio made called When the Wind Blows.
Isn't that the one with the nuclear bomb?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never seen that. I know you have.
I have it on VHS from Video Spectrum.
Oof.
It's a heavy movie.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is actually Yellow Submarine was made as basically so the Beatles could get out of making a third film.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were under contract to make 3 movies. They made Hard Day's Night, they made Help, and by this point they were basically dedicated only to their music, and they were pretty much fighting against each other by this point. And they really did not want to make another film, so they were approached about the idea of making an animated movie, and they went, sure, no problem, just go do it, let's fill out their contract. Another reason was they really, 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 really hated the Beatles cartoon series.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they used impersonators to provide the voices for the characters in the film.
Yes.
Which you can, by the way, if you ever try to describe Yellow Submarine, you can't. It just can't be done. It is a visual acid trip.
Mm-hmm.
Great visual acid trip. But it's a visual acid trip. But
thoroughly enjoyable.
Thoroughly enjoyable. But about 3/4 of the way through, the Fab Four got a chance to actually see what they were doing.
Mm-hmm. And
were very disappointed they actually weren't doing the voices. I mean, they didn't blame anybody. They knew they had chosen this route.
Right.
But that's why at the end there's a live action sequence when all 4 of them are on the screen.
Mm-hmm. I've got a hole in me pocket.
I've still got a hole in me pocket. No, I think I may have related this story on the podcast earlier, but at one point I owned Yellow Submarine on DVD.
Yes.
And this was during a time period when I had very little money and I didn't have a job, and my sister's birthday was coming up. Well, she's a huge Beatles fan.
Right.
It was actually kind of funny. When I was a kid, my mom had a bunch of Beatles albums, and they would slowly migrate up to my sister's room where she'd play them on her stereo. And then about once or twice, about every 3 months, my mom would go storming up there, grab her Beatles albums, yell at my sister, and storm back downstairs. And then within the next 3 months, they'd start migrating back up the stairs again. So anyway, I decided to wrap up my copy of Yellow Submarine and give it to her for her birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And she was very happy. She still owns it.
Right.
Well, apparently I had bought it at that perfect golden moment because somehow the company lost the rights to make the DVD. So I was like, oh, I'd like to replace my when I actually had a job, I'm like, I'd like to replace my DVD. So I went to look it up on Amazon. It was going for $160. And then a little later on, it was going for $200. Then $250. It was not available for like 6 or 7 years on DVD. Now it's actually been released on Blu-ray, so it's much cheaper. But still, I'm like, holy shit! So technically, this is the most expensive gift I ever gave my sister for her birthday.
Oh, gorgeous!
Yeah. So anyway, Yellow Submarine was a very, very cool film, and it really showed what animation can become. It doesn't have to be fettered by any rules that live action does.
Mm-hmm. And plot? What plot?
Yeah.
Let's see. I guess we would be remiss without mentioning The Last Unicorn.
Yeah, I would agree. That was another 2000. That was another PG-rated film from Rankin Bass. One of their few forays into the cinema.
Yep.
And I loved that movie as a kid. Oh my god, it was so pretty.
It is a gorgeous film. It is well made.
And it
has a fantastic voice cast.
Yeah, Christopher Lee is the evil king, and
Jeff Bridges is the prince.
And Maya Farrow as the unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
And just really cool characters and a great story, and it's really depressing if you think about it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I watched the movie when I was a kid, and I taped it, and I watched it. I was like, "Ooh, this is cool." And even
when I was, go ahead.
I just remember when I was a kid, I didn't expect the ending. I mean, when you're 10 years old, you expect everything to end. It's a cartoon, so you expect everything to end happily. and it didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, the lovers were separated because they just could not be together. And I'm just like, oh.
When I was a kid, I watched it over with my Aunt Melinda on a DVD. And right afterwards, I just couldn't stop making fun of it. I mean, it's a gorgeous film, and I appreciate it much more now than I did back then. But holy cow, it was really easy to make fun of.
No, it's not.
With music by America.
Hey, that music has some awesome songs there, man. Walking Man's Road. I would go, when they were playing the movie on the television, I had a tape recorder up against the speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Taping the songs.
Riding through the desert with a...
Fuck you.
On a horse
that was
with
not
no
from the
name.
movie. You
It's
stick
true,
the songs
I
or
know.
the music. You know, the last
Unicorn.
I'm
Oh,
alive. I love that movie. I love that music.
I'm so glad you're alive. For the love of God. Stop!
Oh, no, but I thought it was a really good film, and it was very touching for the time period.
Again, I appreciate it more now than I did then.
And then there's the other movie from that time period. Watership Down.
Yes.
Or as I like to say, I just wanted to watch an animated movie about bunnies. I'm like 10 years old, and I'm watching the theatrical adaptation of Watership Down, which is one of the bloodiest, meanest, most violent cartoons I have ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a little later I actually read the book, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty close. Basically, it's about a warren of bunnies that move out of their field because they're about to get gassed out by the evil farmer.
Jesus.
Well, not even an evil farmer. It's a farmer, and he's just protecting his crops. These
Mm-hmm.
bunnies are eating everything. So they've ended up traveling across to find the fabled Watership Down, because one of the characters, Fiver, is psychic.
Mm-hmm.
And they end up picking up a couple strays along the way. And then there's like an epic battle between a rabbit and a dog, where the rabbit is like lashed on the dog's throat and is like tearing it out and kicking with his back legs to disembowel the dog. The dog is shaking his head violently and grabbing the rabbit and snapping its legs.
Mm-hmm.
All animated in luscious color, mind you.
Right.
There's another battle between like Big Wig, who's this big fighting rabbit, versus the general, who's the head of another warren.
Mm-hmm.
And they just go at it. Beating the hell out of each other with their back legs and clawing, and there's blood flying everywhere. And I'm just like, I just wanted to watch a movie about bunnies.
You poor kid.
Oh my god, I think this is why I'm so messed up. I had watched so many weird cartoons when I was a kid. It's like this other one I watched. I hadn't actually finished watching it yet.
Mm-hmm.
But Filmation tried to do an adaptation of the Flash Gordon cartoon. Comic strip? Yeah. I've actually downloaded it from YouTube, and I've been watching bits and pieces of it. And it's like they stuck as close to the original Alex Raymond animation as they possibly could, or the Alex Raymond artwork. And it's violent. It's really violent. And I watched this when I was like, 6 or 7 years old. So, I'm messed up because of cartoons. Yay!
Yay! Oh, I was just looking casually.
Okay.
Rock and Rule on Rotten Tomatoes,
Yeah.
72%.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good film. I really enjoy it.
Or at least that's the audience score.
Yeah. Well, it's a fun film. Especially if you're, stoned.
I believe that. I
Not
really
like
do.
Not like I've ever seen it when I'm stoned. But, no. Now, basically, then I can't really think of anything in the 80s that was really, considered mature, except until we finally get to Akira.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, too.
Which is, 1988. And it was the first, to me anyway, even though I'd seen these other movies beforehand,
Mm-hmm.
it was the first time I really saw an animated movie that I thought was art.
Yeah.
I mean, it just told an amazing story. The animation was phenomenal. The story was, how can you talk about it, really?
Yeah, it's...
I had to watch it multiple times to figure out what the hell was going on.
After
and that
what?
wonderful dubbing they did in the first version in 88.
I watched it bookended between an episode that we did
Okay.
And right after finishing the movie, it just seemed so profound.
Mm.
It was really well done.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough. It's fast. It moves with just absolute majesty.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good movie.
You feel the fear of Tetsuo and the anger, and you feel Kaneda worried for his friend, but at the same time trying to be tough and seeing, I don't need to do these things, but I gotta find my buddy, things like that.
Mhm.
And the rebels trying to save these kids.
Oh yeah, it's. I cannot say enough good about Akira.
How long can you talk about that? Because I gotta use the John. I'll be right back. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
Continue on. I shall return.
The tables have turned. What can I say about Akira? Let's see. I actually watched it specifically for an episode that we did. I don't remember which one, but halfway through the movie, I had to stop, do our episode, and then come back. And the only way I could find it at first was on YouTube. YouTube has become my best friend when it comes to movies, because if you can find a Spanish sub of it, subtitled version of it, you can find pretty much any movie, unless it's like really, really obscure, and even then, you can pretty much find anything.
And lo, like the prodigal son, I have returned.
Oh, good. But yeah, so I found it on YouTube, and that's how I found out about the dub from the 80s.
Well, that was what I originally watched, because we used to have a store here in BG called the Hidden Realms.
Okay, this one I actually haven't heard about.
Okay, well, Hidden Realms was a sci-fi fantasy comic book shop we had here in BG for a few years. And it just happened to be in that perfect moment of my life when I was from 9th grade to 12th grade. So I was there about 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I used to go there every Friday night and play role-playing games with my friends. And I'd buy comics there, and they also had a small rental section and used paperbacks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my parents bought my first copy of Lord of the Rings there. The original 60s paperbacks.
Mm-hmm.
But they had they had Akira on VHS, and I rented it. And I took it home and I watched it, and I was like, whoa. Because up to this point, my entire experience with anime was Voltron or Battle of the Planets. Exactly. And Akira completely blew my mind.
Yeah.
And then later on, I was able to get my own copy. My roommate had a copy, and we watched it again, and we watched it with the new dub.
Mm-hmm.
And then, just a couple months ago, when Walmart had a really big sale on anime, I got my copy on Blu-ray with the original dub and the secondary dub.
Same.
Yeah, so yay.
I think I was actually the one who told you about it.
That's when I got Ghost in the Shell as well.
Yes, I got Ghost in the Shell not long afterwards, but I got it on a DVD. Because I like my DVD.
Walmart's actually pretty good for, finding a couple gems from time to time.
Oh, absolutely.
You gotta hunt, but they're definitely there.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was, 90s, in the mid-90s, there were some good ones. I mean, there was Ghost in the Shell. And then there was Princess Mononoke. Which we have talked about in the past, but it still needs to be buried where mention how amazing a fucking movie that is.
Oh, yeah. Can we just go back to Ghost in the Shell for a second?
Sure.
I actually watched Princess Mononoke and Ghost in the Shell on the same day.
Damn.
It was really fun. I had my friend Adam over, and he brought Princess Mononoke because I had never seen it.
Okay.
And I found Ghost in the Shell over the library, and I'm like, I want to see this movie. Adam, do you want to see this movie? Yes, I want to see this movie. All right, how about we make a day of it? We watch that movie, and we'll be awesome. And it's night and day. They're very, very different movies.
But they're both still good movies.
Yes. Anyway, back to Princess Mononoke.
Okay, basically, Miyazaki had just... we've talked about this on another show. And Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli had just signed a... Okay, am I pronouncing it right? Ghibli or Ghibli?
Ghibli.
Ghibli. Okay.
Yes.
Giblets.
Yes.
Had basically
and it's
signed...
Miyazaki.
Miyazaki?
Yes, Miyazaki.
Miyazaki had just signed a contract with Disney to release his movies over here in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And as we discussed in the past show, he was not very happy with the United States because of what Orion Pictures did with his Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind, turning it into Warriors of the Wind, which is still goddamn one of the worst dubs and cuts I've ever seen in my life.
Warriors of the Wind.
Yeah, I just remember. So Princess Mononoke came out, and the script was written by Neil Gaiman,
Mm-hmm.
Who basically did it because his daughter begged him to do it.
That's fair.
Yeah, and so he was working with a Japanese translator, and he basically had to fit his script to what was happening on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember watching that with my girlfriend at the time, Megan, and we loved it. We thought it was great. And then I was at class the next day, and the teacher asked us what we did over the weekend. I'm like, oh, I saw this fantastic animated movie, Princess Mononoke.
Mm-hmm.
And it was this animated film, really gorgeous, very good stories. Basically, I love the movie because there's no bad guys.
Yes.
It's very much...
It's ambiguous.
It's ambiguous. Both sides have their reasons for doing what they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the forest spirits want to protect their life, but the humans want to improve their own lives.
Mm-hmm.
And, continue building. It's, nature versus industry.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then the next week, I'm back in the class, and this one girl comes up and punches me in the shoulder really hard. I'm like, ow, what the hell? She's like, I took my 5-year-old niece to see Princess Mononoke because of you. Excuse me? Did you not bother to read the ratings?
Exactly!
She's like, well, it said it was an animated movie. That doesn't matter. And that's pretty much the crux of the entire thing. Animation should not be just for kids.
No.
I mean, Disney...
It should not.
Disney tried really hard in the early 2000s to break that out. They had Atlantis, Lost Empire, and Treasure Planet, both very good films on their own.
Mm-hmm.
But both were very much hampered by cartoons are for kids.
Yeah. I actually remember seeing Atlantis in the theater, and that was really cool.
Yeah, I saw it in the theater, but the movie was supposed to be another half hour longer, actually.
Doesn't surprise me. It feels like it's supposed to be longer.
Yeah, it's only about an hour and a half, because at the time the prevailing wisdom was, oh, kids aren't going to sit through a 2-hour movie. Well, then Harry Potter came out a year later.
Mm-hmm.
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. That was 2.5 hours long, and it was the biggest movie of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically cut it down. They cut a bunch of the action sequences out. They cut a bunch of the core character development out. And unfortunately, the movie just didn't make enough money.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with the film. I think it's very beautiful. It's got great Mike Mignola-inspired designs. The storyline's really good. And it's one of the few real steampunk movies.
It's true. That's something I didn't even put together, but yeah, that's true.
Unless, well, you can technically call it diesel punk, but still. The idea is it's very much a, Jules Vernean steampunk kind of film. And I love the characters and such.
And it's very much informed by the Lost World genre.
Yeah, definitely. So, unfortunately, that's pretty much where we stand. Treasure Planet literally killed the Disney's 2D animation department.
Yeah. I want to see that one still.
I liked it. I thought it was well done. It had some great characters, great animation, but unfortunately it cost like $120 million to make and only made like $60 million.
That's too bad.
Yeah, and it basically, after that, was it Buffalo Rome, or what, that Cattle Range? What the fucking movie?
Oh, Home on the Range.
All I remember is that I call it that fucking Rosie O'Donnell film.
I saw that one in the theater also.
I'm sorry.
It was... At that time in my life, I saw the Peter Pan sequel.
Mm-hmm.
I saw not Treasure Planet, Atlantis, and I saw Home on the Range.
Okay.
Hoo boy.
Yeah. So basically, since then, there's been a couple stabs at more adult filming, like Robert Zemeckis' 3D animated Beowulf.
Yes,
which I have not seen.
I haven't seen it either. It's on my list.
I kind of want to see it. I mean, I've seen clips of Angelina Jolie covered in gold, which, I have to admit, pretty cool. But
that's fair.
But I also know that Robert Zemeckis wanted to make a big budget remake of Yellow Submarine using 3D animation. But that idea was nixed because he made a 3D animation version of Berkeley Breathitt's Mars Needs Moms, and it
yes.
utterly tanked. But pretty much the only thing there is still a market for adult animation, like Waking Life and Through a Scanner Darkly and The Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Mm-hmm.
But they're still kind of niche products.
Yeah.
I mean, really, we have not had a big budget, mature animated film break big in the United States.
Save for Heavy Metal.
Yeah, and like I said, that was more of a cult film.
Yeah. Well, I guess that brings us then to our Thou Shalt Not. And this one is actually directly inspired by you.
Oh, dear.
Thou shalt not let Ralph Bakshi rotoscope this.
Oh, no. Thou shalt not let Ralph Bakshi rotoscope Mary Poppins.
Ew.
He'd have her doing drugs.
That actually shows promise.
No, it does not.
I was in a production of Mary Poppins. That shows fucking promise.
Meh. All right.
Thou shalt not let Ralph Bakshi rotoscope Eraserhead.
Ooh. I'm trying to think. I'd love to see David Lynch animation.
Actually, yeah. I'd like to see David Lynch animation, too.
This is the weirdest Thou Shalt Not we've ever had.
Yeah!
Okay, Thou shalt not let Ralph Bakshi rotoscope Saving Private Ryan.
I'll agree with that.
Okay.
Thou shalt not let Ralph Bakshi rotoscope Star Wars.
Definitely.
Let's see. Thou shalt not let Ralph Bakshi rotoscope
My Little Pony.
Ew.
Have him do an update of My Little Pony.
Ew. Ew.
Yeah, Thou shalt not Okay, Ralph Bakshi is a quintessential New York artist.
Mm-hmm.
So we should never let him go to a quintessential Hollywood production like Ben-Hur.
Ghostbusters.
Ah. I feel dirty now.
Thou shalt not let Ralph Bakshi rotoscope David Cronenberg's Naked Lunch.
How can you make it weirder, though?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's possible.
I don't know, man. That movie was pretty fucked up.
At least it had a plot.
Unlike The Naked Lunch.
Yes.
Thou shalt not let Ralph Bakshi rotoscope RoboCop.
Okay. If that's the case, then throw in Terminator on that one, too.
I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
And your bad... Put that cookie down. Your bad animation. I need that, too.
Can you imagine the fact that they gave Ralph Bakshi a Mighty Mouse series in the 80s? Seriously?
The fuck?
You didn't know about that?
Oh, no, that... Yeah, I do know about that. That's the thing with the, sniffing the flower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was actually about the time period I stopped watching Saturday morning cartoons, so I only caught a couple episodes.
Yeah.
But it was weird.
I can imagine.
I remember there's an episode where they had the evil Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Thou shalt not let Ralph Bakshi do Alvin and the Chipmunks.
No, I just remember it was really weird because it was like, David Seville started screaming at these baby chipmunks going, I want you to sing, la 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 la. I want you to sing louder, la 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 la. And I want you to sing backwards, la ow 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 ow.
Oh, that's evil.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Oh, we forgot our Hollywood Stiff this week.
Oh, we have Hollywood Stiff?
Yeah. Roddy Piper passed away.
Yeah, I saw that just now, actually.
61 years old. And,
Yeah.
he was the quintessential villain of WWE wrestling for most of his life.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely versus Hulk Hogan, which we're not even going to get into this week. Yeah, that's a clusterfuck on a monumental scale. But Roddy Piper is one of my favorite movies of all time. They Live. John Carpenter.
I still need to watch that.
Oh, it's a fantastic diatribe against consumerism and capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
And, the power of the media.
It's on YouTube.
It's good. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I always felt that Hulk Hogan was kind of jealous of Roddy Piper because, You know, Hulk Hogan may have been in more movies, but Rowdy was actually in a good movie.
And that's saying something.
Yeah, because They Live, John Carpenter, great film. Just as the great classic line is, I have come here to kick ass and chew bubblegum. And I am all out of bubblegum.
Thou shalt not let Ralph Bakshi rotoscope Mad Max.
Thou shalt not let Ralph Bakshi rotoscope Mad Max in the style of Mighty Mouse.
Ew. I mean, that's some primordial ooze there.
I know, man. That would be really weird.
Wow.
I think we should end on that note.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, man.
Good episode, man.
Very good. Had a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. So, from all of us here at Radioactive Walrus Entertainment, the Experiment Room, and Dan's Domicile,
where Dan never wears pants,
this has been Late Night Taco Delivery.
You may now place your order.
Late Night Taco Delivery is performed by Daniel Gill and Jonathan Knoll, and was created by Daniel Gill. New Bizarre opening by Jonathan Knoll. If you have questions, comments, or a suggestion for a future show, drop us a line on Twitter at Radio Walrus Pod, like Radioactive Walrus Entertainment on our Facebook, or subscribe to our official YouTube channel, Radioactive Walrus. That's Radioactive with a capital R, Walrus with a capital W, and no spaces. Thank you for calling Late Night Taco Delivery. You may now place your orders. This has been a production of Radioactive Walrus Entertainment.
John, what do chickens say?